Welcome once again. This is Rod Powell. One of the foundational principles that resonated with me when I first got licensed was program your subconscious mind. Stick around and I'll show you what I mean. In the insurance business, your mindset plays a crucial role in where your career will lead you, especially when you're a new agent and you're creating those new career habits. You have to control your mental input because that's what's going to influence your output. So those tough times don't discourage you and you end up giving up too quickly. In this video, I just want to share a few of the many books that are designed to help you with that mental input so you can have the tools to overcome those tough times. So here are my top 5 books every insurance agent should read. And even if you're not an insurance agent, you should still read them. So here we go. Number 5, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Published in 1937, Think and Grow Rich is often called the granddaddy of all personal development books in the Western Hemisphere. It was inspired by a meeting between Hill and steel magnate Andrew Carnegie, who at the time was one of the wealthiest men in the world. Carnegie challenged Hill to interview successful people and basically find out how their minds worked, a challenge he accepted. He dedicated the next 20 years of his life studying, interviewing, and writing about 500 self-made millionaires, some of the wealthiest and most powerful people of his era. People like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Charles Schwab, as well as Andrew Carnegie himself. In his study, he found 13 principles of achievement that were present in all of these individuals. Thoughts become things, desire, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning, decisions, persistence, power of the mastermind, the mystery of sex transmutation, definitely an interesting one, the subconscious mind, the brain, and the sixth sense. A whopping 15 million copies of this book have been sold around the world since it was first published. There are even updated and modernized versions featuring people like Bill Gates, Mary Kay Ash, Spike Lee, and Oprah Winfrey. It's definitely a foundational book you can build a career or even a life around. In other words, you'll never truly be done with it. So if you don't have it, get it, because it's always going to be a valuable part of your library. Number 4, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Once again, Napoleon Hill was the co-author on this one, but this time he was joined by W. Clement Stone. W. Clement Stone was the founder of Combined Insurance Company in Chicago, Illinois. And if you're an agent, you should definitely check out their story. The biggest takeaway from this book is the idea that whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The main points are how a positive attitude can make you a magnet for success, how your problems should really be seen as your opportunities, and how autosuggestion is necessary to bond your goals to your subconscious mind. Think affirmations each day in the mirror. I know that's what I do. For myself, for my family, it certainly makes a big difference every day. Number 3, The Greatest Salesman in the World by Mandino. Augustine Mandino was an author. He has many books, and they've sold over 50 million copies around the world. But before that, he was a failing insurance agent on the verge of suicide. He began visiting libraries in his travels and reading books he thought would improve his circumstances. And upon reading a copy of, you guessed it, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, he was so taken in that he sought out a combined insurance office in the Boston area where he lived. He started working there, and after having some success and writing the bulletins for that office, he eventually ended up working with W. Clement Stone directly, writing the national company newsletter and eventually this book. The book is a fictional story about a camel boy named Hamid who becomes the greatest merchant of his time with the help of 10 ancient scrolls. Today, I begin a new life. I greet this day with love in my heart. I will persist until I succeed. I am nature's greatest miracle. I will live this day as if it were my last. Today I will master my emotions. I'll laugh at the world. Today I'll multiply my value 100-fold. I will act now, and I will pray for guidance. This is one of the most impactful books that I've read since starting my insurance career. So much so that the scrolls hang on the wall of my office today. The main premise of this book is that true riches lie in happiness and peace of mind, and not in money. So if you find yourself scrolling, looking at other people's lives, wishing it was yours, definitely read this book. All right, we getting down to the wire. Y'all still with me? Number 2, how to connect with anyone. 96 all-new little tricks for success in relationships by Leil Lowndes. Now, like our other authors, Leil Lowndes has many books. In fact, this is a follow-up to one of her other books called How to Talk to Anyone. But being someone who, believe it or not, is naturally quite introverted, it jumped at me instantly when I saw it. It starts with the story of two men of similar backgrounds and age sitting stark naked in a laboratory with a doctor and a student observing them. Now, both of these gentlemen are employees of a multinational corporation. But one of them is the CEO and the other is the building cleaner. The student is supposed to guess which one is which. After some time goes by, the doctor concludes the experiment and thanks them both. They get dressed and prepare to leave. The student at this point still has no clue. One of the men turns to the other and says, "Hey man, I bet you're glad that's over. Good job." And then he says to the doctor and the student, "I know that must have been uncomfortable. Hopefully the next experiment is more pleasant. You all must be doing some very important work here." Then he leaves. The other gentleman, however, as he leaves, he says, "Hey, glad I could help you out." And he looks at the doctor while pausing at the door. The doctor walks up, hands him some money, and he commences to leave the room. Now, at this point, you can probably tell who is the CEO and who is the cleaner. But the point of the story is the CEO was more concerned about the other people in the room and acknowledging their feelings over his own. Whereas in contrast, the second gentleman, primary concern was really just on himself. Now, neither one of these individuals is a bad person, but the CEO's mindset was more focused on working for the benefit of others versus working solely for the benefit of themselves. And this provides quite a bit of insight into how soft skills can be developed to cultivate better connections and relationships. It covers behaviors, simple things like holding eye contact, shaking hands for deeper connections, speaking genuinely and with passion, paying attention to your body language, and holding conversations. Just being more mindful of others overall. In other words, being more interested than interesting. I absolutely recommend this book if you are working with people at all. Now, for my number 1 most recommended book that every new insurance agent should read is Secrets of Closing the Sale by Ziglar. It is truly a book I recommend whenever I am asked by a new agent for a book recommendation. For real. And why is it the first? Because it's a book really about trust, earning it and keeping it. Now, if you don't know who Zig Ziglar is, when he was alive, he was arguably the most well-known speaker in the sales training, direct marketing, and personal development industries. I would say that this should be a mandatory read in any sales career, not just insurance, but any field where you're interacting with people and you really have to listen for what's most important to them so that you can assist them better and provide better service. It really is about putting your prospect or your existing client's needs first. I would sum it up as sales psychology applied as the golden rule. Or as Zig himself would say, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. I appreciate you hanging to the end. And since you stuck around, there's one more bonus book that I want to share. It's a book I actually only learned about a couple years ago after meeting the author, who has since become a good friend and colleague. And it's one that can make a difference for both new and seasoned agents out there. You Can Too by Jonny Burgess. Now in 2008, Jonny was a single father with 5 kids at home. He was engaged to be married with a wedding on the horizon, and the gourmet food sales business he had ran for 10 years had just gone under due to the economy. He ended up getting his insurance license at the end of that year as a recommendation from a friend, and he started working in the voluntary health benefits arena. Now, understanding the urgency of his personal circumstances, he secured 21 new accounts with small businesses in his first 2 months and ended up becoming the Rookie of the Year for that company. 8 years later, he expanded his insurance business, continued to scale, and became a millionaire. This book is the story of his first year in the business. He even followed it up with a second book called You Still Can Too, with some of his more advanced strategies. Now, I recommend the first book because it's an inspiring story of both grit and ingenuity, both of which are skills you absolutely need to be successful as an agent. Hey, speaking of success, as always, I hope you got something out of this video that adds value to yours, and maybe even made you think you should get a license. Or maybe you already have one. And if that's the case, I'm willing for you to reach the pinnacle of however success is defined for you. Hey, please hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.